the most winged podcast that we're gonna do to date. I don't really have any news or anything like that. We might hit on a couple of things, but I had something that was on my heart, something I wanted to sit down and do a video about for a long doggone time, and so we're gonna do it tonight, just off the cuff, barely any conversation. Devin just crawled out of his hole in the back of the studio, hadn't seen him in several days, and now we're gonna do a podcast. And I didn't prepare him for this, I didn't prepare myself for this, but today we're gonna talk about how to be a man, how to be a father, what that looks like, the different things and struggles that we go through, the way we think, from my perspective at least. And you know, no one may think or do things the way I do, and that's fine. It should be entertaining at least a little bit to let you in on how my mind works on things.
Well,
so,
we're perfect with it, so it's a good example.
Yeah. Well, I've been married 8 years, about to be 9 years next month.
Perfect.
How long
years.
have you been married?
Same, I think.
All close to the same. And
my wife doesn't watch this, so it's okay.
I've got 2 kids, a 3-year-old son and a 6-year-old daughter, and you've got 3 kids.
Yes, 1, 8, and 10. Yeah.
All boys.
All boys. Just found out that Beck is no longer in menopause, and she. It's very possible that we could try to round up a 4th.
Another baby.
Another baby. Why not? Only live once. I know.
Yeah. My wife told me the other day. She's like, we were outside. We were having a great day, and she's like, let's. Why don't we have another baby? Why don't we? And I'm like, you've lost your mind. I'm going.
Tax credits.
I told her. I said, I'm going to work immediately. We're not having this conversation, because she was dead serious. I'm like, you've lost your mind. The next day, I was dropping my kids off at my mother-in-law's house, and when I went to go pick them up, we were getting the kids in the car, and I got in the car and I rolled down the window, was talking to Shelly, and she's, I said, do you know what your daughter said to me yesterday? I just remembered it, and I'm like, she's like, what? I said, your daughter said, like, let's have another baby. Can you freaking talk to her? Like, I told her, she's like, no, we can't. Y'all can't have another baby. Like, even she knows. It's like, no. Y'all cannot have another baby.
I just want a girl, man. I want a little girl.
Go buy you one. There are tons of little girls that don't have a mom and dad.
I can adopt.
It's a whole thing.
And we've thought about that.
Yeah,
really
we have.
We've thought about it for years, and I think that's what we're gonna do, because we're gonna wait till Jackson gets right around 4, and we'll probably try to adopt a little baby girl. But then I've also thought about the fact that there's a lot of teenagers that once they get up there in age, they don't get adopted, they don't get fostered hardly at all. And I think we would want to make an impact there.
Yeah, and I mean, if you can start like a sweatshop here in the United States,
yeah,
or you could get a bunch of
talk about that.
You could get a bunch of teenagers and adopt them. Be like, hey, I'm your daddy now.
You got to make all this stuff.
Daddy needs sweatpants. Daddy needs t-shirts. Okay. So that's No, I agree. I think there's nothing worse than a kid. I've coached my daughter's t-ball, softball, 6 and under girls softball, which is t-ball but with a softball. And dude, I'm telling you, this is my 3rd year doing it. This is her last year in t-ball. I tried to make a big deal about it when she hit the ball for the last time, because I pitched to her.
That's awesome.
And when she got back home to the home plate, I gave her a high five and I grabbed her. I'm like, this is the last time. It was the last one. The last time she was sitting, I'm like, this is the last time I will coach you in t-ball. This is the last time I will pitch to you in a game.
Wow.
She didn't care.
Yeah.
I cared. My wife saw it.
She's
like, my wife's like, Jared's gonna start crying. I didn't start crying, but it was
folks. I mean, he went home and sobbed like a baby. I promise you.
But I mean, that's you.
She'll remember it later.
It's important to think about those things in the moment. I think, as a dad, as a husband, as a person, I think it's important for you to sit here and say, this this thing that I'm going through, whether it's a good or a bad thing, I'm in it and be in the moment. And being in the moment is such a difficult thing to do, especially as a father. You have all the stress of everything. And I'm very traditional in that I believe that, you know, male and female have specific roles. There's specific things that they're good at. And me and my wife, we try and play off of each other's strengths. Your strengths and weaknesses may not necessarily be traditional. A woman might be super great at making money. You know, she might be an entrepreneur and she might make super tons of money. Women entrepreneurs. Who knows? 2024. Oh, yeah. But, you know, and it's just like you fall into whatever your strengths are. You fall into whatever your strengths are.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So
just
I mean,
a little disclaimer, you know, that there's
the views and opinions of this show do not necessarily reflect the co-host.
Well, I you know, I do want to play off of that and say that so today was I got the boys a dirt bike. Jesus, this is a little dirt bike here, probably about 3 or 4 months ago. Just a little cheap starter bike, and finally got all their gear. You know, everything, padding and everything, because, you know, it can go from 0 to hospital pretty quick. So, you know, we'll protect for that.
Real quick.
Yeah. And so today, you know, my 10-year-old, he didn't want anything to do with it. You know, he didn't want nothing to do with it. He barely wants the 4-wheeler that they've got. And, you know, he sat inside and watched through the window while Barrett crashed a few times, and then Barrett lost his mind, my 8-year-old, and I'm only saying, I know you know that, but they don't, the 2 people that are watching. Yeah. So anyhow, I'll get to what I was wanting to, but Grayson comes out, he decides he wants to do it, he wants to, you know, do it to help his little brother, you know, get a little courage.
Yeah.
Well, Grayson loved it, and there was several things he was doing, and my wife, which you know my wife, she's not girly, you know, like dresses and makeup all the time, you know, that kind of thing. But she is very much so a coddler, like a woman should be. And I've explained
you like it when I coddle you. When we have issues around here, and I'm like, come on, you got it, Devin. You're doing a good job, bud.
You don't say that.
I want to. Keep going.
Oh, okay.
I want to be the encourager, but keep going. Keep going. In my mind, I am. That's okay. Keep going.
I think they call it a narcissist. Anyhow, so, you know, I've explained to my wife, look, you know, because she was telling me, like, oh, I can help him. No. And he'd fall down, and I'd tell him, get the bike, get back up, take off, you know. And
boy's got to be a man.
Yeah. So and you know, her dad was always very, you're a sissy, you're this, you're that, and you know. But it is my job as a man to make sure that my boys understand that you can't whine about everything.
No.
You know, you've got to get up, dust yourself off, get back on the thing, and go. And, you know, Grayson went right over the handlebars. I'm talking about.
Love it.
He hit a hole and let off the throttle, hit the front brake at the same time.
Dang.
Front brake's on this side. And he just went straight over the handlebars, hit the ground. But he rode across it. I could tell he didn't really do anything that was going to really hurt him that bad. He had pads on. And so she wanted me to go out there, and I said, no. You know, like, he is fine. He's not screaming. He's not laying on the ground. He's up, you know. So there is a big difference when it comes to that with, you know, men and women.
Yeah.
My job is to make sure that my boys, and I say my boys, and if I had a little girl, I probably would help her try to be tougher, but I would coddle the crap out of her. But is to make sure that they understand that life sucks.
Yeah.
You know, and it's up to you to make the best of it. You know,
Yeah.
Failure is not the end. You know, and the thing that makes success is the fact that failure is there. If you're never, if failure is not there, and you're not able to fail, then it's not a success. It
The road
just
to
is what it
success
is.
is paved with failure.
That's right.
Ha!
Ah!
Who said that? Benjamin Franklin,
Jared said
Thomas
that.
Jefferson,
I don't
Adam
think you should-
Richardson. One of them said it. Look it up. The
Adams?
path,
John Adams?
the road to success is paved. Sorry, this sun kiss is hitting. Is paved with failure. The road to success is paved with failure. My favorite quote is Jim Rohn. You can have more than you've got because you can become more than you are. My kids rode with me to work the other day, or doing work, because I'm doing like Amazon right now, and I told them, I'm like, all right, we're gonna play a game. I'm gonna get y'all a prize when we get home if you can tell mom what this quote is and who said it. And so I said, you can have, and made him repeat after me, more than you've got because you can become more than you are, Jim Rohn. And so periodically throughout the day, I would lean back and be like, all right, what's the quote? And they had no clue. They're 6 and 3. And then Wes, she would get it a little bit, and then, she'd mess up the middle part and the end part, and then couldn't remember the guy's name.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Jim Rohn. And she's like, who? Immediately. But anyways, my daughter specifically, she is super duper duper tough.
Yeah.
She's very much
yeah.
She's very much a muddy princess, I guess I would say. She loves to play in the mud. She loves animals. She loves running around, acting crazy. But she also loves dressing up. She would do her makeup if we would let her. She loves all that crap. She loves the whole being a princess, being, all this good stuff. And so I just kind of take my kids kid by kid.
Right.
And say, this kid needs it this way, this kid needs it that way. Because I don't think parenting is a one-size-fits-all kids kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, I think really you need to sit here and adapt. No kid's going to be the same. Your kid's not going to be the same as mine.
Right.
My 2 kids aren't going to be the same as each other.
Two kids that do the same things aren't going to be the same.
And I mean, look, it's difficult. I mean, talking about being a man, being a dad, I mean, what is a man to me? I think a man is stoic. A man is a rock, in my opinion. It doesn't mean that you can't break down and cry and show your emotions and stuff like that, but a man is somebody who is the last to break, in my opinion. I've cried in front of my wife, obviously. I've cried in front of other people before. But at the end of the day, when you sit back and you say, what is, the Bible says, when it talks about stress, can stressing over something add one day to your life? Stressing over it. And the answer is no, then don't stress. And then it also says, deal with today's problems today, don't deal with tomorrow's problems today. And it's talking about stresses. It's not talking about don't plan.
Right.
And that's tough. And one thing that I explained to my wife a while back, and this is how my mind works, and perhaps there is a lady out there listening whose husband maybe is like this, and he doesn't know how to explain it to her, or maybe you know this about yourself, but you don't know how to explain it. For me, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a business guy, I'm a real estate guy, investment guy. I love this kind of stuff. In order to do investment of pretty much any kind, business of any kind, if you're going to be successful in the long run, you need to know what the long run looks like.
Right.
So with this podcast, for instance, I need to know, what does this podcast look like a year, 2 years, 3 years from now?
Yeah.
With my real estate, I need to know what happens in 4 years, 6 years, if interest rates go up or down, what happens if a home catches on fire, there's insurance, there's planning that goes into that.
You have plans for plans for plans.
And same thing with my family, is like, I'm at a certain financial level, and I know that I'm going to need to step up to that next level by a certain point, because we have cars to buy for kids, school to pay for if they want that. They're going to we want them to travel. We want to be able to travel with them. So the way my mind works is I'm so far down the road with everything, with my finances, with my businesses, with my relationships, with everything else, So when I come home and my wife is stressed out about money or whatever, I can sit here and say, whoa, just take your mind from where we are now to 18 months from now, because that's when my plan starts to come to fruition. And what?
Say that word again.
Flourishing? You want to tell me what it is, or you want to look at me?
I'm just gonna leave it alone.
I mean, that's fine.
I'll let somebody correct you.
Yeah, I mean, like, because if you're gonna correct somebody, you need to correct them. Yeah. So, but she can't get to 18 months because the way her mind works is it's now.
Right. Same with my wife.
Yeah. So, and I'm not saying that's every single wife. I'm just saying that's how my mind works. So, when it comes to like our kids or something, for example, like me and my wife has had this conversation where she can sit here and what's her schedule for the day? And this is not in a demeaning way. What she does is one of the most important jobs in the world. We homeschool our 2 kids. She homeschools our 2 kids, specifically teaches them. So she wakes up in the morning with a schedule that she wrote out and says, I'm going to feed them this. I'm going to teach them this. And so she pulls out the workbook and she gets to see them learn this particular thing or read this book. And by the end of the day, they're reading this little book or passage, or they understand this. And I come home and they're like, Dad, we learned about, lizards, this lizard or whatever. And so her plan has happened that fast. But with me, my plans are so far down the road. I don't get to see my plans happen for a long time.
Yep.
Because my mind is so far in the future. And then her mind can't be in the future. Why? Because she's in the present with these kids teaching them. So she can't think about 5 years from now. That's my job to think about 5 years from now. And that's kind of how our relationship works. And that, I think when we started seeing eye to eye on that, and then how my mind versus her mind worked on that kind of stuff, we could kind of come together and say and understand why someone was stressed about this particular thing, and then be able to talk about it. I mean, does that make sense to you? Is that how your mind works?
Absolutely. I mean, that just pretty much sums up my wife and myself. And a lot of times I go for I just tell her, look, my job's to worry about the finances and that kind of thing. Yeah. You worry about the other things. And not that that's a woman's place, but those are the roles we've chosen to take in life. And I do want to say that I think it's super, I don't want to say odd. Yeah, it's odd that we had 2 different raisings, you and I. We had 2 different fathers. Your father, from what I've seen, was a very loving father. He was always there for you guys. And he was, what you would picture a dad being. Yeah. I'm sure it had its ups and downs.
No, I mean, shout out to my dad. I had a fantastic dad. Still do.
And my dad, my dad is great now. But he'll even tell you that he just didn't know how to be a dad. He didn't. And for both of us to have pretty much, I mean, my kids are homeschooled as well, and for both of us to pretty much be on the same track, of the same mindset in a lot of things, of the same understanding in a lot of things, that just goes to show that it really doesn't make a hill of beans how you're raised, as long as you choose to be who you are. So it's not, when it comes to being a man, I had a friend the other day, an acquaintance, more than a friend at this point, but they were saying that, look, I don't know how to be a dad. I don't know how. And I was like, nobody knows how to be a dad. You just be a dad. I said, every situation is different. I said, but you didn't have a dad that was there. But that doesn't mean that you don't know what you need to do. You provide that structure, you provide that that plan, So, and that's a little bit different of a subject. But.
Well, I mean, I think for me, my biggest, I'm gonna say responsibility, I guess, that I see for me as a father is just simply being a good provider.
It's tough.
So I want to be the one that brings in the bacon. I want to be. I don't feel like I need to be. That for me is a desire. Right. I want to. And so, especially early on in our marriage and stuff, when I struggled so hard about trying to bring the money in, trying to make enough money that we can go out to eat, that we can, go and buy a new shirt if we need to or something like that. Don't even talk about vacation.
I don't know what that word means.
And I wasn't able to do that. And it was tough.
Yeah.
It was tough on me. I was stressing, but there's nothing my wife could do to fix that, to help that with me. It was just a stress. It was constant. And it was every single day, and I would get up and I just plot and scheme and try and figure out, a new job going on. What are those what's the website for finding jobs? Indeed, and places like that, man. Doing my resume, sending it out to folks, praying, fingers crossed that, I'd land something.
Did you ever get any job off of a job application? Have you ever gotten a job? And neither have I. I've gotten jobs and then put in an application afterwards just to fulfill the, having to have one on file. But I have never gotten a job off of me submitting an application to someone. It's always been...
I mean, I've gotten offers and stuff like that, but most of the offers, because I've got a lot of like sales and entrepreneur and stuff like that as far as my resume is concerned. So most of the offers I get are sales jobs.
Same.
I'm not interested in a sales job. Now I know Grant Cardone, Jordan Belfort, and all these cats. I know Robert Kiyosaki will sit here and say, go get a sales job because get you one, there's no cap and you make commission. You just go out there and work and all that good stuff. And that's great. That's great for somebody who
somebody else's empire.
That's great for somebody who doesn't have a plan. I have a plan. I when I was putting job applications, I'm like, listen, all I got to do is be able to make X amount of money. If I can make X amount of money for X amount of years, I'm going to be set and won't have to work for the rest of my life. And that wasn't like millions of dollars. It was like if I could get like $80,000 to $90,000 in a salary a year. I'll only have to do that for a couple of years, and then my real estate will have taken off so well because I'm making so much extra money. I'm putting all that extra money in real estate and business investments and stuff like that. 2-3 years tops, I can walk away. So that's more or less of my goal back when I was doing it. But I've always worked for myself or worked for my dad, and I would say that my family teetered between upper poor class to like lower middle class area all my life, and that's kind of where we were. I didn't have any super wealthy family members. I didn't have, wealthy friends. I was homeschooled all my life, so I didn't have all that. I mean, I literally have worked from day one. I got a full-time job when I was 16 years old because I was homeschooled, so I could. I made like $250 a week, working 40 hours a week, back in, that would have been
2018?
No, that would have been 2008 or 9 or something like that. Yeah, it'd have been 2007 or 2008 or something like that. God, we're old, man.
I know.
We're old as piss now. Jeez. I mean, so... Anyways, I struggled with being able to provide and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's what pushed me to wake up one day and sit here and say, what am I really doing? Like, if somebody put me up on, in an interview and said, Jared, I'm going to give you everything you've ever desired, all of it, all the money, all the fame, all the accolades, all the everything. I'm going to just write it in and then bam, it all happened and you did it. And it's handed to you on a silver platter.
What is that?
But, no, not just that. I mean, you want to get clear, but I'm just saying, if they said that and they said, okay, but you have to tell me what you've done to deserve it. I couldn't say anything. I didn't put my dues in. I was in the middle of putting my dues in. I was working, I was grinding, I was figuring things out. I was going through some heavy stuff in my life, and I got to go through it. I got to learn from that stuff. And here's the kicker about things. If you don't learn them, you'll just have to learn them next time. You won't go to that next level without learning that crap.
It's the worst way to learn it.
So look, I started freaking picking up books, man. I mean, Bob Goff, Dream Big, I love that. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, I love that. We used to watch a lot of Chip and Joanna Gaines. So I bought, Capital Gains by Chip Gaines. That was a pretty doggone good book. 12 Rules for Life, Think and Grow Rich. Straight Path to Real Estate Investing. This is a really good book by Chris Crone. It's got a lot of freaking details in it, a lot of examples. I thought it was a good book. I like Chris Crone to this day. I like him less, but only for this reason, is he's become like this health nut, and I mean it in the best way and the literal sense, because he probably only eats nuts. And he's like this bodybuilder dude. Like, so now he's doing like bodybuilding competitions. I like him a lot less now because he's like super pumped. Yeah. He's more Superman-ish and less relatable. You know what I mean? Before he was kind of relatable. That's fine. I'm gonna get there one day and people will be like, I don't like Jared. He's went all Hollywood. I'm like, no, I'm just rich, ho. Like, I'm gonna step into who I really am. I'm a pimp. When you start seeing them diamond chains on me, bro, yeah, with that grill, I just can't afford it right now. But that's who I really am. So you'll have to deal with that. Anyways, my point is like, what have you done to deserve everything that you freaking want? What are you doing, man? Yeah. You want a good relationship with your wife? What the hell do you do to get a good relationship with your wife? I mean, really? Do you buy her flowers ever? Do you say nice things to her ever? Are you saying, well, I don't do those things because she don't do those things to me? I'm trying not to cuss. Are you a B? Like, what? You're a man.
Do you know what her love language is?
You just freaking do it.
What she likes.
So, exactly. Put in the work. Yeah. Do you deserve it? Like, I used to think, man, I sure wish my wife would do X, Y, or Z. I'd like a wife who did X, Y, or Z, whatever the things may be. You put whatever things you want in there. And then I started to think to myself, I started to get bitter about it. I'm like, why doesn't my wife want to do this or that? Or why won't she go here or there or whatever? And I started thinking,
what would she say about
what that? Have I done? What have I done to deserve for her to go there? Because if I'm going to sit here and be one of those guys that, well, she just should love me and all this, I'm like, what are you, a simp? Like, come on. Like, no. What have you done? Faith without works is dead. Get your butt up. Go do something. So I tried to become more of that. Now, she still occasionally gets mad at me because I ain't picked up the house lately or helped her around with this. And I'm just like, I got things to do. Leave me alone. What are you talking about? I'm out here stunting. You know how hard it is to ball?
Hustling.
You don't know how hard it is to ball out here nowadays. And here I am, balling.
I'm telling you.
And so that's just the way I look at it. That's how my mind works. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
100%.
We're all in it. I think we're all
I'm there too, man. I get it.
So my point is like, if you want the six-pack, you can't just be bitter at home because, I'm not in shape. If you want to be in shape, it's pretty clear. You stop eating sugar, you go work out. It's not that hard. I really like sugar.
Me too.
And
you can tell from looking at me. You'll get there.
I saw a guy today.
No.
Probably in his late 30s, early 40s.
No.
Black dude.
I don't even know what you're going to say, but I know it doesn't
belong. Dude, he was over here on Chapman Street. I think it was Chapman Street. No.
Don't get too specific.
Right past Chapman Street. It don't matter. Dude was jogging. I was out delivering, and I tried not to look, but I could not help myself. I'm not gay, but this dude looked like Leonidas.
Rip.
I'm talking rip, sweat coming down, like... Dude was looking like a Hollister commercial, like a Dior cologne commercial, whatever they're called. What? Yeah, where they're on the boat, and homeboy's all looking out in the boat, and he's all sexy looking, and then they're out in the middle of, nowhere, rocks everywhere, and here comes this other woman out of the water, and you're like, you didn't even see anybody put on cologne. They never even sprayed it. But at the end, it's like, couple. You know?
You know what
Something crap like
impresses
that.
me more than that? Seeing someone that is extremely out of shape out there hustling.
Yeah.
I just want to, I mean, I've driven by it, used to when we were kids.
As
I don't
in,
know
like,
about you.
hustling, as in, like, what, like
Running,
working out? Yeah.
Doing the
Absolutely.
things like that's, that motivates me.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't, I used to, and by used to, I mean, 15 years ago, I'd make fun of it, whatever. But, no, it actually motivates me.
It's more motivating to me to see somebody who's out of shape at the gym, trying to get in shape and stuff like that. Because, I mean, look, like I'm 30 years old, and I have always had a fairly high metabolism, but that has all started to slow down over the years. And listen, like
5 years ago.
Like I had a gut like not that long ago, and I was miserable. And I mean, I say a gut, like to me it was huge, but it was only like a couple inches more than But I'm just saying.
Mine's a gut.
And the Halseys, like my family, we've got a tendency to get those guts and still be in good shape. So it's just like, and that's like the kind of place it all kind of holds right there. And I just got depressed, man. And I'm like, bro, I can't do it. So I went for like 4 days without eating at all. I took a 4-day fast. Just drank lemon water, and like I'd get a smoothie or something like that. But, and I just started working out. And I want to get back to it, man, because I really, really, really want to. I mean, I want that guy. I want that guy's body,
That's weird.
I do. I want to be black. I want to be black. And cut like that guy.
I mean,
ain't nobody holding that man down, I promise you.
Unless he wants him to.
Yeah.
I think that, I hope that's not where you're
Is it weird that I want to touch it though? Like I've never felt abs, you know what I mean? Like not in a sexual way, but I want to like, because my skin don't do that bubble wrap stuff.
I used to have a 6-pack. Mine did that.
Dude, you were scrawny as piss when you were a kid.
Bro, you didn't see me after I was 17.
Dude, this dude.
I was 17. I moved out. I was gone.
This dude was like shoulders.
I mean, I wasn't
like,
that.
He was meat.
But I had a 6-pack.
Dude was meat. I'm like, his 6-pack was resting on top of the 6-pack.
He probably had an 8-pack. Yeah.
We're like, we shouldn't be talking about this man like this, okay? We don't mean it like that. All right, guys.
I don't mean anything about it.
I can sit here and say that this man was an attractive, well, in shape black man and it not be gay, okay? I'm married. I ain't into men, Not because he's black. It's not because he's black. I'm just not into men, all right? I don't swing that way. It's not because he's black.
I didn't say anything.
It's because he's black. Anyways.
You're totally like, I was going to say we're getting demonetized, but we don't make any money on this anyways.
Anyways. I just felt like we needed to get in here and let's what do they call it? Break the ice.
What ice?
It's
hot.
isn't that what it's hot as piss. Isn't that what they call it, breaking the ice? And do we know why they call it breaking the ice? I want to break the ice, guys. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. That whole thing, where are these?
Well, I get the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is because it's so big that nobody's talking about it. How did we get the elephant
into the room? Have we ever been in a room that an elephant could have gotten into?
The Kiwanis building. There's been elephants in there.
That's not even a room. That's when you're talking about.
It's one building. It's a room. It's just one.
Yeah. Like, share, comment if you're getting any value out of this at all. If anything made you chuckle. I just wanted to get real for a second. Like, it's for real.
Oh, was this our podcast?
Yes.
Cool.
I just wanted to get real.
I like real. I think other people like real.
Yeah.
And, maybe we do maybe we can continue stuff like this.
Well, I mean, that's what.
Obviously, we want to be real. We don't want to be fake. We don't want to. We're not going to panter. That might be a word. I think that is a word. We're not going to, do something or talk about something just because we think people want to hear it. We're going to talk about what we want to talk about and what we think like-minded people want to talk about and want to hear about. So,
yeah,
I think it is pretty important to, talk about those things like this. Because to be honest with you, there was actually a dad group that helped me get past a few things. Not that I ever commented, not that I ever posted anything in it, but just hearing other people's stories and realizing, you know, look, I'm not really doing that bad. You know, like,
Oh, yeah.
not that, you know, I'm not perfect, but you know, my wife was worried. So my oldest son, he's actually my bonus son. You know, he's not my blood son, but he is my son.
You feed him
And
long enough, he'll start looking like you.
he does. People think he, you know, but he, you know, my wife was worried for a while because I'm tough on him, and I'm tough on both of my boys, and she was worried that he would hate me because he gets in trouble here, but when he would go to his dad's, he wouldn't get in trouble. Like, there was no rules, you know, there, literally, like, and I told her, I said, look, I said, you know, I'm not going to dilute what my job is, what I'm supposed to do. I've been in his life since he was like 8 months old, you know, and that boy right there, he absolutely loves me. You know, I have no doubt.
Yeah.
He can come to me and talk to me about things. A lot of times he talks way too much, but you know, and if he had to make a choice, which I've heard him say this, he would choose to be with us.
Yeah.
And that says a lot. So, you know, doing the right thing is always the right thing. And I know that sounds like a stupid statement, but when you're in the position, you understand it because, you know what is right to do. You know what you have to do, and just do it. You know, no matter if it's, you know, you feel like other people are gonna make fun of you because you hugged your son and was holding your 8-year-old son in your lap. You know, I mean, that's your boy.
Boy, I'm gonna kiss my son when he's 18 years old.
Oh yeah.
I'll kiss that joker. It
Yep.
ain't bother me one bit.
Yep.
I can't stand it. I love the piss out of my kids.
Oh yeah.
I love the crap out of both of my kids. I'm gonna hug them. I'm gonna kiss them. I'm gonna love on them. These are my babies. They're gonna be for the rest of their life. I'm not gonna be one of them awkward fathers where you get older and it's like, hey, how you doing, Pop? You know, and you get a little, you know, hug and everything. Like, no, like
they're gonna come in and be happy to see you.
I love my kids. That's something
Yeah.
I've always had with my mom and my dad. I tell them I love them. Every phone call, every time I get off the phone, I say I love you. I love you, Dad. Every single time. You know.
Well, and I'm the same way. I have a really great relationship with my mother and my father now, which I did not up until, you know, a couple years ago, and you know, it sucks. My dad had to realize that he can't try to be dad from, you know, when I was a kid. You know, that ship has sailed, but he has become a really good friend. You know, I mean,
Well,
he is a good dad.
If you've heard of Jordan Peterson,
Yep.
obviously. This is his book, 12 Rules for Life. He's got a second one, another 12 Rules for Life. There was a couple in here that I really, really, really liked. Jordan Peterson, if you've ever listened to him, he can say some of the most interesting things. But reading a book he wrote is...
Really?
It's tough. It's tough. It's really tough. The only other book that was that tough to read was...
Man, I just realized how much you blocked that AC unit.
I'm not trying to block it. I tried to put it on you. I read a book about real estate taxes, and that was worse. Anyways, I want to run through these 12 rules, and I guess we'll wrap it up. See what you think. Get your thoughts. Agree, disagree. These are his in not any particular order, you know, but these are his 12 rules for life. Let's start on 12 and then we'll count down.
Sure.
About that. So rule number 12, pet a cat when you encounter one on the street. Disagree, agree, how do you feel about that? Pet a cat when you encounter one on the street. Agree or disagree?
I mean, I guess I would be neutral. I mean, if I see a cat, I pet it.
On the street. You're
Doesn't matter.
walking down the street, there's a cat. Are you reaching down to pet it or not?
Probably.
Probably. Yes or no? Just yes or no. There's a cat in front of you. Are you petting it? Yes or no?
Yes.
Why?
Just because.
Just
Because, well,
why? Why are you petting that cat? Are you some freak?
no.
Are you a weirdo that has the
Cats
pet
are
animal?
meant to be pet.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
That's a really weird rule.
Yeah.
I guess it would be more of, there's things that I could take it to a deeper place.
Don't.
Don't.
It's just a cat, Devin.
It's not just a cat. If it's a rule, it's not
just
just
a
a
cat.
cat. And more than likely, what he's saying is that, look, it brings you back to humanity. Takes your mind off of something. And we have a cat. I hate cats. I do not like cats. I really don't. We have a cat. I walk in, I pet the cat.
Cats, they're buttholes, man. Like, literally, their buttholes are the ugliest looking naked part of their body that's staring you right in the dang face.
Oh, and they always come up to you and turn around.
They call it a brown eye, but it's a pink eye, which is even
Who calls it a
worse.
brown eye?
That's what a butthole is, a brown eye.
Well, yeah, but
I mean, how often are you looking at your butthole, David?
I've never seen my butthole.
What? You've never sat on a mirror before? Come on, man. You got to figure out what
That's
eye
a
looks
thing?
like.
Why'd you just act like it's... Oh, my God.
At some point when you're a kid...
I don't care. No, never done it. We were not fortunate enough to have mirrors that weren't attached to the wall.
Poor people. Anyways,
Yeah, poor.
We're just
Poor is
gonna-
definitely it.
we're gonna roll right over that.
Yeah, go to 11.
11. Do not bother children when they are skateboarding. How do you feel about that?
Oh, I think that is... I don't agree with that rule.
You want to bother them when they're skateboarding?
Yeah, it's a lot.
To what?
More-
To say a dad joke? To give them life
Always,
advice?
always a dad joke. There's always a dad joke that I'll pull out of the database, and it's always there. But I mean, it's generally to be like, hey, don't fall, because
I would sit here.
obviously they're not gonna.
So Devin
don't wanna
is
fall.
absolutely. You're a no to that. You are bothering kids.
Oh, I'm
skateboarding.
bothering the kids
Okay.
skateboarding.
I'm not bothering kids skateboarding because I don't give a piss about your kids.
They didn't say
skateboarding.
my kids.
Anybody's kids. Just in general, they're not my kids.
Uh,
I'm bothering my kids. I'm gonna go out there and let your old man show you how to take this dive down. What do they call it when you're at the top?
Drop in?
Drop in. Let your daddy show you how we used to drop in. Back on.
that'd be the last thing that you said if you were ever on a half.
So we disagree on Rule 11. I'm saying don't. I agree with Jordan. You say Jordan Peterson's an idiot.
Yeah,
That's what you're
stupid.
saying.
Stupid
And
man.
we both agree on the cat thing. I think you pet a cat. I think if you're so fortunate to get in front of a cat that will let you
Wants you to
pet
be
him
pet.
in the wild, I think it's a good thing. I think it's a sign of a good day. Good things are going to happen. Go buy a lottery ticket. Rule number 10. Be precise in your speech.
Oh, absolutely,
I try.
absolutely.
I agree with that. I mean,
say
I
what
think
you mean what you say. That's so
you're
funny.
gonna say
because
it, do it. Don't just talk about it. Be about
Be
it.
about it.
What else?
Mm.
There's got to be another saying.
Well, that's the thing.
Right.
My boys, I tell them that all the time, and I'm
Talk
telling them
the
that all
talk,
the time.
walk the walk.
So much that my children use it, and they say, like today, Grayson was bringing stuff in, and Barrett said, "Do you want any help?" And Grayson said, "No, I've got it." So Barrett walks inside. Grayson comes in yelling at him, and Barrett turns around and says, "Say what you mean and mean what you say." And
Nobody likes
I
to
couldn't
be
get
burned.
onto it.
I mean,
I couldn't get onto it.
you couldn't.
You know?
All right, so we both agree.
Agree.
All right, rule number 9. Assume that the person you are listening to might know something that you don't.
Absolutely, all the time. Every time.
Be a sponge. Try and soak
Absolutely.
up the good and wring out the bad.
Yep.
And listen to people. You might not know everything.
You don't know everything.
There's a story that me and my wife were watching. I don't know if I showed her or she showed me or whatever, but basically it was Jordan Peterson. He was talking and he said, you need to listen to your wife when she says you're being an a-hole, because she might be right.
Right.
And if she's not all right, she might be partly right. So you need to come into every situation thinking, if you hate my guts, maybe
There's a
I've
reason.
given you a reason to.
Yeah.
I just think that's a good rule, period. I think you go in there
Well,
and assume that they're not complete
Yeah.
idiots and they have a reason for why they believe what they believe. All right.
Absolutely.
Rule number 8, tell the truth or at least don't lie.
Yeah.
And I like how it leaves that wiggle room.
Yeah.
You know, because when
It's
your
like,
wife's
hey,
like,
if I don't know, I don't know.
if your wife's like, do I look fat in this dress? I'm like, why don't you take it off and let me see that ass? You know what I mean? Because that dress ugly as crap. Get it
You
off.
know where it
you,
looks the best?
You know?
On the floor.
You know what, baby? I just think you just naked. I like it naked. You know, I don't like lingerie and all that stuff. It's not for me. And my wife tried that. We got married. We're a young couple and all that. And I'm just like,
Oh, I don't answer that question.
I'm
My
like-
wife asks me that stuff. I just look at her and be like, I've never answered those
Listen.
questions. I'm not going to answer those questions. I think you are sexy as hell.
you know what? And my wife would be
that's
like,
all you
look,
need to know.
I'm not wearing this for you. I'm wearing it for me to look pretty. I'm like, good.
Then you answer yourself.
Because she wore some stuff that I'm like, I don't know how to take that off. So you're just gonna have to take it off. I'm just gonna have to sit here. Because like,
That takes the fun out of it.
yeah, it wasn't fun for me. I'm like, I just want nakedness. That's like, this is how fast can we get naked? That's all I want to do. That's just being honest. All right, number 7, pursue what is meaningful, not what is expedient.
Very true.
Yes, I agree.
Absolutely,
You
I
got
agree.
if it's easy, it's probably not
Probably
worth
not
it.
worth it.
You know, if it's you know, you're a Lord of the Rings fan?
Hmm?
Yeah, so when they're riding on the Ent, the tree people, and he's like, you know, anything that's worth saying is worth taking a long time to say. Or something like that, you know what I mean? Because they
I don't
take a
remember
long
what he
time.
said for sure. But
He
yeah,
said
that
something
sounds
along
close.
those lines. Anyways, so we both agree. All right, number 6, set your house in perfect order before you criticize the freaking world.
Absolutely.
Freaking yes, I agree. That being said,
We do it all the time.
We're
when
going to
we're not in
criticize
order.
the heck out of everybody.
So I really don't agree with that. I don't.
You know, I mean, I guess I agree, but in practice, I don't agree. Because, like, what we going to talk about if we ain't going to talk about, you know, them?
I mean, well, let's put it this way. I can take that and say, okay, I know what I believe on this, so I'm going to criticize them for this.
Yeah.
If it's absolutely stupid and it's been proven that blah blah blah. So that part of my house is in order, and bam. So yeah, maybe that. I don't know, but that, yeah, no. I mean, you know, people in glass houses shouldn't throw rocks, so maybe that's a little bit more.
That was deep. That's a deep metaphor. I couldn't live in a glass house because I'd be scared at night. Folks would be looking at me in the darkness and I couldn't see them. You know, you see those houses where they got all these like windows everywhere with no shades, and they're like, "Yo, I'm gonna need some shade," because I mean,
Could be smoked glass.
I might walk around my house naked.
That's a stupid idea.
You know how many
You guys
people
have a
probably saw my naked A when me and my wife first got married? Because I'd be walking from the kitchen in my room in the middle of the night and forget that my blinds are open. And I grew up in the country and we lived in the city.
Yeah.
It happened. I'm telling you. Some folks have seen my naked tail. All right. Do not let your children do anything that makes you dislike them. That's deep. I know.
You know.
On the surface, I know it sounds, but I've read the book, so I know what he says about it. Trust me, there is a
Well, maybe if
meaning
it's,
behind it.
I can't get around the whole, let's chop the thingy off, that kind of thing, you know, like, of course I'm not gonna let my kids do something like that, but that's a little bit more on that's a little bit different, but
You don't want, listen, like you're not going to let your kids continue in behavior that makes you not want to hang out with them, is what he's saying.
oh yeah, I mean,
He's
I'm
not
gonna
saying-
correct that situation.
Like, he's not saying like, oh, well, you don't like playing video games and your kids do, so you're not going to let them play video games. He's not saying
No.
that. He's saying your kids are doing something that you don't like, basically. Like, it says that you dislike them for. It's a total separate thing. I tend to agree, although I think in all of these there's probably a broad and a narrow with these rules and stuff. So
I just got to be neutral on that.
Yeah.
I can't be for or against.
Number 4, compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today. I
Absolutely.
disagree. See, we disagree. Yeah, I love that. I disagree. I think you should set lofty goals for yourself, and I think that a lot of times your growth can be minimal and over a long period of time and hard to measure.
Sure.
But it's much easier to measure. I think it's fun. It's been really fun to me to bring people into my life like Eric or Andy, people like that who are really going somewhere and really have that thing, because it gives me, they're not that far ahead of me in age, maybe 4 years, 5 years, and it gives me like a target goal and somewhere to like, okay, I'm somewhere over in this area and they're up here. All right, gotcha. I can make that jump to there. These are the things. It helps me plan. I think
I just know what I want.
Yeah.
And what I want, I'm going to do everything I can to get there. And if I look back and I say, you know what, I should have called this place, I should have called that place, I should have done this and that yesterday, and I didn't do it. Today I'm going to do that. And that's actually how I run my day. When I start in the morning, I drink my coffee and I evaluate how my day yesterday went. So that one, 100% agree.
My day, I don't believe I ever wake up and look at at yesterday ever. I don't think I ever wake up and look at who I was a year ago, 2 years ago. That's irrelevant. If I'm not who I am and what I'm wanting to do right now, then I look at what takes me there. And so, I mean, look, we're pouring like, thousands and thousands and thousands, over $10,000 for sure, well over $10,000 into this new grit and grind venture with this Crenshaw County location. And that is a calculated risk and something that I wanted to do over a year ago. And the only reason that it's pushed me to go ahead and do this now is because interest rates are so high. It's much harder to get into real estate. If you do get into real estate, it's not quite as much cash flow and money in it right now. And so I had this excess cash sitting around, and I didn't want to use all of it, but it looks like I'm going to use.
I could never say that word.
Mostly all of it.
Excess.
Well, but and that's the thing though. Like how I got to where I am. That I had to start somewhere. I never had excess cash, and like literally I've got like $18 in my checking account right now. I won't get paid until Monday. It's Saturday. It is what it is. We just don't go anywhere. Screw it. We're done. We can't do anything. I can do work and that's it. If I need something for business, I can pay for it with business, but business does not pay for pleasure. Does not pay for and I've had to keep those things separate, and I had to learn that lesson, and it was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. It was ridiculous. But when I sit here and say, compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today, I think that takes my drive away. Because I'm way better than I was last year, the year before that, the year before that, the year before that, like mentally, physically. Like I'm a better father, I'm a better husband, I'm smarter, I've learned things, I'm a better speaker,
I'm give you
a better
drive.
friend. Screw that. Like I'm going to progress. That's on autopilot. I'm going to learn, I'm going to do better, I'm going to blah, 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 blah. Okay,
I look at it in a different sense.
But how do I get to where I want to go? Those 10-year goals, those 2-year goals, those 12-month goals, how do I get there? Those are the things. And the only way that I can do that is to compare myself to someone who's doing the things that I want to do, slightly above me or maybe a lot above me, someone that I can take and learn for, compare myself to. Okay, they're doing it this way. If I was them, I would do it this way. And so when I'm in that situation, then I can do it my way, and hopefully I can learn. Like I'm a sponge, like with Eric, when I'm around him and I'm listening to him talk about grit and grind and how he's growing it and the different things and everything else. I'm a sponge because I'm learning. I'm going to learn as much as I can, bro, because when I get in a position that he's at with a business that I have, no matter what it is, I can see in real time Eric make those choices and why he made them, and I get to see if they're going to turn out to be a good decision or a bad decision or a neutral decision or whatever. And I get to see Eric in that where he's like, you know, was he under a bunch of stress when he made that decision, and was it the right decision or the wrong decision, or like what was his frame of mind, what was his thought process, what led up to that decision? And so I'm in a beautiful spot where I get to learn from that, and I try and learn, but I compare myself. So that's just,
I get it.
I mean, I don't disagree with what he's
just
trying
the
to say.
difference between you and Jordan Peterson.
Screw Jordan Peterson.
Who's that guy?
I don't even know. No, rule number 3, make friends with people who want the best for you. I disagree 100%.
I don't want to just go out to make friends. I'm not looking for those people.
I don't even like you.
Don't care.
Now, see? I'm kidding. I like you a little bit.
Okay.
I wish I was friends with that black guy.
Sure.
But,
We probably could do a better podcast. We'd be a better co-host.
Dude, if we had a black guy in here...
You think we get ratings?
Dude, are you kidding me? If we had a black guy in here, are you kidding me?
Like,
That's all we're missing.
I got one.
That's all. You got a black guy? That's awful. 2024. He's got a black guy. Holy cow.
He's a friend.
Okay, Jesus Christ.
I mean, I've got
That's
one
not the
as
way
a
you,
friend.
That's not the way you said it.
I just said, I've got one.
All right.
If you said, I need a plumber, I
What
say,
do you mean?
I got one.
All right, okay. I'm just saying.
You're the one that took it there.
If we had a black guy
You just said had.
as a host, you cut me off as a co-host. I feel
Whoa. I am the co-host.
as a okay, first chair,
Coco?
second chair,
Coco.
third chair.
Coco, because
A Coco.
Coco.
First chair, assistant to the regional manager.
Anyways,
to the regional
we're running
manager.
up on an hour, I'm pretty sure, and you need to finish.
All right, number 2, treat yourself like someone you're responsible for helping. I like that. Be good to yourself. If I was taking care of you, if you got in an accident and I was, had to feed you and clothe you, and I wouldn't be like, eat this food. I'd take care of you. Hopefully, I would be nice to you. So be nice to yourself. That's what he's trying to say. I like that. You're hard on yourself
Oh, absolutely.
all the time.
All the time. That's my nature.
You gotta go easy on yourself.
Damn.
Yeah, you got to. Somebody's got to. Anyways, rule number 1: stand up straight with your shoulders back. I try to. Yeah. I think what he's trying to say is carry yourself with some pride. Have some freaking
Don't hang
pride.
your head.
Yeah.
I agree. With
So 12 rules for life, Jordan Peterson. Good book. Kind of boring.
podcast.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Like, this was just thrown together. I didn't even tell Devin. I told him, on the phone, I think I want to talk about, what it is to be a man, a father, a husband in 2024 from my perspective and all that. I told him that at 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, something like that today. And I didn't have anything really to talk about. But yeah, that's pretty much it, I think next podcast, we might give some opinion on some prominent men out there. I think that'd be a good idea. I'd like to give my opinion on Andrew Tate, his brother Tristan. I'd like to talk about Ben Shapiro, and the Daily Wire is blowing up at the seams.
Yeah.
It's crumbling, and in a way I couldn't be happier because of the way they've done some things. I want to talk about some men out there who claim to be good role models but are really not that good of role models. So maybe we'll talk about something like that next podcast.
Sure.
So share, subscribe. Go watch the podcast before this one where he put the American flag glasses on me when I looked over. That was really clever. I caught that immediately. It gave me a laugh. It might give you a laugh. We'll catch you. You heard it here first. We'll catch you next time. It's been the Nightly News with your favorite anchorman, G Money Real. And what's your nickname?
Oh, I'm just unreal.
That's Devin. Have a good night. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah, look, every day that they see me, they like, what's up, dude? I tell them not much, but we know it's not true. Got a to-do list that every day I gotta run through. I don't wanna small talk about it, let the work talk for me. I don't tell nobody about my secrets. Keep it to myself, cause nowadays they wanna leak it. I don't even share it with my family as of recent. Not cause I don't trust them, I would rather let them see it for themselves. I got insecurities, I don't wear them on my sleeve, so you know I gotta keep them on the shelf. Like awards I don't have yet. And every second that I wasted talking about it is a second I can have back. Look, I don't wanna tell them everything I'm gonna do. I would rather show them everything that I achieved. I don't wanna tell them that I got it with no proof. I would rather show them the receipts. I find it funny how they say you gotta talk less and do more. When I rap, I talk more and do less. Already had a blue check before I made the music, and now I'm making verified hits every stew session. I got ways to go, I know I never stop. Opportunities are coming to me, I'ma let them knock. Open up the door and let them in, how could I ever